We're joined now by the host of Overdrive, Bryan Hayes. And Hayes, that game 3 for the Blue Jays, just brutal, right? And it got us thinking, what are the most devastating losses in Toronto sports history? Because why not suffer some more today, right? You've made a list. We're going to start at number 5. What do you got for us?
Yes, I have a list. It was not easy. We are talking about Toronto sports here. I feel like the Grim Reaper right now. If you're the Toronto sports fan, you're like, here we go. Hayes with more negativity. But there's been a lot of it over the years, including last night. All right, at number 5, I'm going to stick with the Blue Jays. Game 2 of the 2022 wild card round against Seattle. Famously, it was 8-1. Everyone remembers that. It was 8-1 down at the Rogers Center. Jays were on pace to win that game, and who knows, maybe get through the wild card. They did not. Famously, Bo Bichette runs into George Springer. Springer has to leave the game. That launched this current team into a territory where a lot of people were wondering, can they win? Obviously, we have the answers now. They have won this fall, but in 2022, it felt like they were on the precipice of doing something very special. It was 8-1, game 2 of the wild card round. They blew it. Really tough loss.
Such a bad collapse. Now, at number 4, we're going all the way back to 2001, a game that Raptors fans still have a hard time talking about.
Yes, they do. This, of course, would be when Vince Carter decided he had to go to North Carolina.
The graduation game.
Day of, he had to go and graduate, and then famously fly up to Philly and miss the last shot that would have won it. That was an opportunity for him to beat Kawhi Leonard before Kawhi Leonard ever was a Raptor, years before Kawhi showed up here in Toronto. And that was a team that had been building for quite some time with Vince at the forefront. They had veterans. They were a really good team. They had a very good Philly team on the ropes in their building. That one still hurts for Raptor fans.
Yeah, I think they'll always blame that grad trip for that Game 7
as they
loss.
should, as they should.
Now we're at number 3, and the only thing I have to say to fire up Leafs fans is 4-1.
Yes, it was 4-1. It was 8-1 for the Jays. It was 4-1 with the Leafs with 11 minutes to go. I really don't have to say much more than that. And I'm sure Leaf fans are probably watching this, listening to this, saying, 3? How could there possibly be 2 worse than this? And there were 2 worse than this, and we'll get to it momentarily. But this was a team back in 2013, shortened season coming out of a lockout. The Leafs had not been in the playoffs in years. They finally get into the playoffs against an arch rival. They were down 3-1 in that series to Sarah. They battle back and win Game 5, battle back and win Game 6, go to Boston, back-to-back games. Game 6 was on a Sunday night. Game 7 was on a Monday night. 4-1, 11 minutes to go. And then all hell broke loose. There's really no other way to put it. Everything fell apart for the Leafs. Bergeron scores in overtime. It's still heartbreaking. 12 years later, I cannot believe that game happened.
I moved to Boston that following year, and I saw it from a very different
So maybe you were the problem. It's not actually, maybe I'm not the Grim Reaper. It was you.
We're not going to start that. Let's go on to number 2. You've got last night's Game 3 loss, and is that really the second most devastating loss in Toronto playoffs?
Yes, it is, and we'll get to number 1, and I think number 1 will be understandable. And I understand, looking back on that Leaf loss, that could make a strong case for it, but this is the World Series. This is Game 3, a pivotal Game 3 of the World Series, and the Jays had this game on multiple occasions. They had a 4-2 lead. They had a 5-4 lead into the 7th inning. They had multiple opportunities to close it into extra innings, and it just felt like whoever was going to get that game, and it turns out it's the Dodgers. You talk about being in the driver's seat. It is the epitome of it now because both sides are likely low on gas, and it was a huge opportunity. Furthermore, the Dodgers are in the Pacific time zone. Most Blue Jay fans are on the Eastern time zone. You had to wait up until 3 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. Eastern time on a Monday night into Tuesday morning, and they couldn't get the job done. They had so many opportunities. And again, this is the World Series. So the other rounds we're talking about, the other games we're talking about, that's the first round, wild card, second round. This is Game 3 of the World Series. It was heartbreaking last night.
So last night, very fresh in our minds still, but now for number 1, we're going back a little ways. You're giving us a little 2-for-1. What is the most devastating loss in Toronto sports history?
Yeah, we're going way back, and we're going to combine 2 games to mash this into one heartbreak for Toronto sports fans. And, of course, it would be Leafs-Kings 1993. It started in Game 6, the famous high stick, Gretzky on Gilmore, where he drew blood. Everyone around the world saw it. Everyone around the world heard it, except for one guy. And he was the guy that needed to see it and hear it, and that, of course, would be Kerry Fraser. Missed high stick. Of course, Gretzky ends up scoring in overtime to push it to 7. They fly back to Maple Leaf Gardens 2 nights later, and Gretzky has what he calls the greatest game of his career. Hat-trick, 4-point night. They end up winning that series. They go on to play Montreal in the Cup final, and that's what I think makes it even more heartbreaking, Sarah. If you're a Toronto sports fan, it was a rare opportunity Probably the last time we're ever going to get that opportunity because of realignment in the NHL. Maple Leafs, Canadiens, Cup final in '93. It didn't happen because of Kerry Fraser and because of Wayne Gretzky. So Toronto sports fans are still bitter about that. They'll never get over that. I'm not sure anything could ever top that.
Well, I hope we can get over the Game 3 loss for the Blue Jays last night. They can, make matters better by winning Game 4.